All right, hey, today we are going to create a pumpkin and make it into a jack-o'-lantern. So we're going to click create and we're going to do a new document and we are going to call this Halloween pumpkin. And I'm adding a number because I made a couple already. So this way I'm keeping track of all the ones I make. So I'm calling mine number 3 because it's the one I'm on now. All right, so remember you can always pause, rewind, watch this. So if I go too fast for you, then pause it and head back. So on the front view, we're going to create a new sketch. So I like just to click on it, right click, do new sketch. And then I'm going to hit the N key. N key just zooms it in, so I'm seeing the flat front view. You can see right over here, I'm on the flat front view. And I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to click on this line tool, but I want it to be a construction line. So I'm going to click on this also. So see now both of those are highlighted. Start here at the origin. I'm going to go straight up. And there it is. We're straight up. And I need that line to be 12 inches tall. So it's going to zoom out there. And I'm going to just go ahead and escape the line tool and zoom this out a little bit so I can see my 12-inch tall little line right there. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a second line. Now this line I want somewhere close to the top, but not right at the top. I want it below the top. Do not get down here to the middle where it locks in. So above the middle, I'm going to click on that line. I'm going to draw it straight out, and I need this line to go 9 inches. Okay, and oops, I forgot. I need this to be a construction line. So I'm going to click on that line again, click on construction. There we go. Now it's a construction line. Okay, so if you ever forget, you can always change them back and forth. I'm going to add a dimension from the top point to this line. I need that to be 3 inches down. Okay, so all I've done so far is draw a line straight up. That was 12 inches. Somewhere close to the top, I drew a line straight out, 9 inches. And then from the top down, I dimensioned it so it's 3 inches down. That seemed to work the best when I was working with it. Now we're going to create what's called a spline. Don't get too carried away with this. Kind of follow along with what I'm doing, and it will work out pretty good. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to draw it this way, and I kind of show you, and then take a look, rewind it, and then try it yourself. So this is the spline tool. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to start it right here at the base, right at the origin. Click on it, and I'm going to come out here, and I'm going to come down just a little, okay? And I'm going to click once here, and then I'm going to kind of curve this up. So I'm kind of making a profile picture of a pumpkin. So I'm going to kind of curve this up to somewhere right around in here, and then I'm going to anchor it to the end point there. And then I'm going to curve it up around and about halfway up here. I'm just trying to get a nice little even curve. I'm a little bit above the 12 inches, kind of where I want to be. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to anchor it right here at the 12 inches. And I double click there, and that's kind of going to be the profile of my pumpkin. Now, if I don't like it, I gotta get it off, but I can grab these little buttons and I can kind of, I want it to be a little rounder, fuller, you know. You can adjust it how it looks. Okay. Now I can't adjust this one, but I can come in here and I can adjust this, if I want a little flatter on the top, or I want it to come peek up a little more, if I move it out, see how it changes, so you can kind of change what it does, and how it looks by just moving those dots around just a little bit. And this is where you'd want to do that right after you create it. So you kind of get the shape, because mine kind of looked a little like it was kind of sharp right here. So I kind of bowed it out a little bit more. I kind of like that look. Because remember, this is going to go in a circle around it, and that's going to create the pumpkin. Okay? But we got a little bit more work to do before we actually get to do that. All right? So I'm good here, so I'm going to finish this sketch. Okay? I'm going to, I like to always go to the isometric view, so I'm zoomed out like that. and I'm going to create another plane that's a bit off of this plane. Okay, so I'm going to click on the plane tool right here. Sorry, that's not the plane tool. Gotta find it. Oh, there it is. Plane tool. There it goes. Looks kind of similar. All right, so that's the plane tool. So I'm going to click on the plane tool. I'm going to click on the front plane. It's set to offset. That's what I want. I'm going to drag this guy, and I'm going to just drag it out here a ways. Um, you know, uh, here, I'll set it to 10 inches just to give me something. Okay, so it's way out here. It'll just make it easier for me if I have it way on out there. I'm going to click OK. So I got this plane one. It's way out here. You know, and I'm not going to rename these planes. I know you could, but that's where we're going to draw our next little part. So I did an offset plane. So I went to plane, clicked on the front plane, offsetted it out here 10 inches, and I'm going to create a sketch on this plane. I'm going to hit my N key to zoom it in like that. And now I'm going to add points. Okay, so I'm going to kind of zoom in on this. I'm going to add points, and this will make sense later. There's a little, looks like a little circle, but it's a point. If you hover over it, it says point. I'll click on it. And everywhere I had, now not at this point and this point, but everywhere along here where I had these other points all the way around, I'm gonna create a point. So I'm gonna try to, zoom in here, and I want to get as much right on the top of that point as I can. That looks like it right there. Here's another point right there. I'm gonna click on it. Here's another point right here. Click on it. Here's another point right here. Click on it. And I'm not gonna need one there or at the beginning. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do on the sketch. I'm going to click A-OK. Okay, I'm going to go back to my ISO view. So I got these points just sitting out here in space right now. All right, so this point's matching up with that point, this point matches up with that point, this point to that point, this point to that point. Okay, now right now all these planes here are kind of getting in my way. So I'm not going to turn off plane one, but I'm going to turn off the front and top plane over here. So over here, I'm going to turn off the front and the top. So all I got is my right plane. Okay. And I'm going to draw on this right plane. So I'm going to do a new sketch, select this right plane, and I'm going to hit my N key. And so now I'm looking sideways. See, there's all those points I just made, and I'm looking sideways. So that's my origin. I'm now going to create a ellipse, okay? And so I'm gonna click right here in the center, right on that point right there. I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna drag it out, just a little ways. That looks good. And I'm not using motion. I kind of want it kind of flat-ish and kind of wide like that. So that looks great. So let's zoom in on it. It looks like I apparently made it 2 inches by 0.895 inches. It doesn't really matter. You kind of want something that's kind of long and flat. Okay? All right? And that's all we're going to make right there. We're going to click OK. All right? I'm going to go back over here to my ISO view. And now I'm going to turn off that right plane. Okay? So the only plane I got on right now is plane 1. And I've gotten 2 sketches. I've got this little arc here that I've made, and or spline, and it has all these little points along it. Okay, and then I just created this little oval down here, an ellipse, and kind of flat little oval. Looks like I may have made it a little wide. Let's go back to that sketch. I'm looking at that thinking I may need to edit that. I think I got carried away. Let's make this a little narrower. Let's go down to maybe just 2 inches wide. And I'll bring this down to maybe just 0.75. Yeah, that's good. That looks good. All right, so I'm finished with that. So go back to my ISO view. Yeah, that looks good. All right, So that's looking good. So now I got to create some planes. Okay. So bear with me. Okay. Don't freak out. This isn't going to be extremely difficult. We're going to click on the plane tool. I'm going to click on this drop down where it says offset, and I'm going to say 3 points. All right. Here's the 3 points. I'm going to draw. I want a plane at this next point along this path that I created. I'm going to click right there. I'm going to click the corresponding point that I copied it, basically, straight across from it on plane 1. And now I'm going to find the midpoint, which see how I get on this cursor, it comes right up here, that midpoint. And I'm going to click there. And now it's created a plane at that angle. That's what I want it to do. I'm going to click OK. So what I did, you can see the 3 things. I clicked here, I clicked out here for its corresponding point, and I clicked the midpoint of that tall line that I made. Green check it. And so like if I look at the front view, you see I got this angled plane. Okay, kind of neat, isn't it? All right, so we're going to draw on that angled plane now. So I'm going to do a new sketch. I'm going to select that angled plane. Nothing happened, so I'm going to hit N. So now I'm straight on that pin. Now for some reason it likes to rotate it. I don't know exactly why it rotates it like that, but it does. I'm going to go at a little bit of an angle. Well, let's just go back to my ISO view. It's all messed up now. All right, so I'm going to draw on this plane. So I'm going to, now it is important. I'm going to swing this around like this, and it's through that point right there. Kind of hard to see, okay, but it's through that point right there. And so I am going to hit my N key again. Oops, N key. There we go. And now it's through one of these 2 points. I'm going to do an ellipse. Let me see which one it's going to anchor to. See how it won't let me anchor to this point, but it does let me anchor to that point. See how it lights up? So this is the point that the plane's running through. Now I needed this in straight on view. The reason I needed this is because I need this to come out horizontally. Okay, so this is the next one. So I want it bigger than 2 inches. So I'm gonna make it out here, 2.5 or 3. Looks like I got 2.8, and I'll make it about 1 inch tall. That should be good. Okay, I just need a little bigger. I'll come back, hit my isometric. I can always edit those. Okay, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to turn the view of plane 2 off so it's out of my way. So if I kind of rotate this around, I've got this kind of wide little thing there. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next point right there. I'm going to do another plane. Click on the plane tool. Change it from offset to 3 point. Click on this point, the matching point, the midpoint. Create the plane. Create a new sketch on that plane. I'm going to hit N. Snaps me around. I'm going to kind of zoom in on it. And I may end up making these all too big. I can always come back and fix it. See, it's going to let me lock in on that point right there. I want this one to be a little bit bigger than the other one. And I'm going to make it kind of fat, like that. That looks great. Come back here, do my ISO. Alrighty. I'll come in here, turn this plane off. I'm leaving the sketches on, just turn the planes off. Now I'm going to need a sketch through this point right here. So I need a plane there. So I'm going to do this point. It's this one here. And then I'm going to do this midpoint right there. And that's going to create me a, oh, I forgot. Plane, I need to change that to 3 points. There we go. Now click here, click here, click here, and now I got a plane. Forgot to change it to 3 point there. It's like, hey, it didn't make anything. All right, create a sketch on this plane. This time it's going to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to hit N again, and that's this guy right out here. I'm going to do an ellipse, and I'm going to make it smaller this time. so it's not going to be quite as wide. I can make it a little more round. That works. Okay, come back here to my isometric. I'm going to get rid of that plane so I don't see that plane. Oh, apparently, oh, I need to get rid of that guy. Apparently I messed up that plane. All right, now I need a plane through this point. So click on the plane tool, change it from offset to 3-point. Click on this point, and this point. Got the 3. Going to create a sketch, and I'm going to hit N and make my ellipse, and there it is. So if I zoom in, it's this point right here. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. You can kind of see the oval behind it. I'll make it just a little bit smaller. Yeah, that looks good. Come back over here, isometric. Scroll down here. I'm going to turn this plane off. Okay, and now I got one more to make right there, and that should be on my right plane. So I'm going to turn my right plane back on. That point should be right there because it's on this line. I'm going to create a new sketch on the right plane, and I'm going to hit N, and then I'm going to zoom in up here, and there's my ellipse tool. There it is. It's this guy right there, and make it straight out. There we go. Looks great. All right. So far, every time I've done this, it's always come out different, and obviously this one has come out different again. And now I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to uncheck, hide the right plane, and I'm going to hide plane 1 and sketch 2. Okay, that gets rid of those dots. So that plane gone, and so all I did was I hid plane 1 and sketch 2, or whatever this plane is that you drew sketch 2 on, our second sketch. Now I'm going to do a loft. I'm going to start here, go to 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 here. Looks like I got a little bit of a warping happening right there. I don't like that warp. Look how it twisted it. All right. So what I probably need to do is edit that one. So I'm going to close that out. That was the last sketch. Let's edit that last sketch. I'm going to go in. I think I may need to make this a little wider. So I may just delete that guy. Let's try it again. I'm going to make him a little bit wider and not so tall. Let's see if that helps out. Helps with me. Helps with the lofting. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. And be patient. It does take a second. No, that even made it worse. Look at there. That's even worse. Don't want to do that, so let's undo that. Well, here, we'll just delete this guy. We're not going to do that. All right, so let me go back into this one. I had this problem happen one other time. Let's see, can I make it? Let's go to the end. There, I made it smaller. Maybe that will make it better. Maybe I'll like it smaller. We'll have to play with this for a second. So you can see it doesn't always work perfect every time. These are a little bigger than I have done in the past. I think this is getting too big down here. So I think I'm going to go through and just make everything a little smaller. Because it shouldn't edit like that. So I'm going to start with, let's see, where we are, sketch 3. So I'm going to come down here and sketch 3 where we had it like this. I'm going to change that to 1.5 and change that down to 0.5. There, make it a little smaller. Maybe even make that just 1 inch. There we go. And finish that sketch. Then I'm going to come, that was sketch 3, so now I'm going to go sketch 4. And let's go to N so I can kind of see it. And, you know, let's, I guess we can put some dimensions to this, make it a little easier to manage. There's that. The other one was 1, so let's make this one 1.5. And I think it was a half, so let's make this 0.75. We'll give it dimensions and see if this will fix the issue. All right. I always have to go back to ISO to kind of see. So I've done this one, this one. Oh, okay. So now, yeah, that one got way too big. So this was sketch 4, so I'm at sketch 5. Let's hit N. And let's do some dimensions. So yeah, this is at 3.9. The other one's at 1, so let's make this 2. And this is at 0.8. We'll make it at 1. There we go. 2 and 1. And hopefully this will fix our issue. So that was sketch 5. There's 5. All right, and we got it at 2 and 1. So let's do sketch 6. Hit N and zoom in on it. So let's do this at 2.5 and 1.25. That should work. And come back in here. And then, so that was 2.25, 1.25, all right. And so that was sketch 6, so let's go to sketch 7. And I'm gonna hit N. Actually, that looks pretty good as it is. Let's see what the dimensions are on it just to see. So we'll just call it a flat 2. And we'll just make that 1, kind of like that. That looks good. And this will be the last one, 8. Zoom in on it. And what are the dimensions? We'll still call it 1. And I still want it a little bit round, so let's just do 0.4. Let's go ahead and make it a half. 0.5. Yeah, that looks good. All right, let's see if that will fix that twist. I think they just got too big. So now let's try this loft. We'll start, we're not starting with the vertices. We're starting with that sketch to this sketch to, not the vertices, the circle. There you go. To this oval, to this one, to this one. Ooh, it hates it even more. All right, so I see what's happening. I'm gonna have to adjust where some of these are. It's this curve is too great. So I'm gonna have to go back to sketch number 1. Remember this guy? So apparently I've got to round this guy off just a little bit more. There, let's try that. All right, and that may have been the only issue that I had. So let's see if that will loft it. It's getting too sharp of a bend on it, and so it's creating that twist, or it can't do the curve. Okay, let me try one other trick. Like I said, this is my 3rd time to do it. First time I had this same exact issue, and then the 2nd time it worked perfectly, and then this time, as you can see, not so perfect. Not the center. I may need to make that one bigger. It's just so stinking small, I hardly can select it. Well, let's just see if this works. We're going to go with it. All right, so I'm going to come over here and select this part right over here, and I'm going to rename it. This is my pumpkin part, and then I'm going to right click on it and edit its appearance. And I found, I think that looked like about the best color, somewhere right in here. I kind of like that color right there, and you can play with it a little bit. I mean, I don't know exactly what all this stuff does, you know, so, but you can play with it. If you know RGBNs, you can get your codes and put it in whatever color you want. I'm just going to stick with that color right there. That looks orangey enough to me. Oh, of course, it does help to actually apply the color instead of just clicking on it. Green check, there we go. So now it's that color. And now I'm going to do, now this is going to take a little bit of time. Okay, so be patient with your internet. I'm going to do a circular pattern. Okay, we're going to add, we're going to merge to all. We're going to do, probably it's going to take 25 rotations. And we are going to select this part right there. The axis of our rotation is this center part. Okay, now notice it's spinning. Okay, it is thinking, and 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 it's still thinking, and we're still thinking. I'm going to pause this. All right, it took it a while, to be honest. I mean, probably another minute or so till it finally created this. So I'm going to click a green check, and we now have a pumpkin. Now I can see right there, see it's showing through. It's not completely enclosed right there. If that bothers you, this is what I think. I'm looking at my old one that I just did, and look, I got gaps here too. So what this means is we're going to go to circular pattern again. I'm gonna double click on it, and we're gonna add, let's make it 20. Let's just try 27 or 26. Let's just see what happens with 26 if we add one more rotation in there. And let's see how long this thinks. I'm gonna pause it and I'll come back when it finishes thinking. See, it's spinning right here. All right, so I did 26 rotations. I'm gonna green check that. Let's take a look at that. It's gonna take it a second to render it. So it's a solid shape. I'm hoping it will be closed. If not, what I can do is I come in and I can make all these little circles a little bit bigger, and then that will close the gap. And of course, as you can see, it's still spinning and still thinking. So hopefully this will fix it. It still looks like we might have a little bit where it does that little twist right here. I think I know why it's doing that. I was looking at my old one that I did that came out perfectly. And so here I'm going to drag it over. This is the one that came out perfectly. See how I kind of almost have just a C shape with this one? It did it perfectly. So I'm wondering if I got too big of a bend in it. And when I got that bend, it kind of twisted. So let's look here. Do I have gaps? No, it closed it up. How about gaps on top? Do I have gaps on top? Still got a little bit of a gap on top. And so I really do think that it's because of this bend. So, what you could do if you wanted to try, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to come back to sketch one, turn it back on so I can see it, and I'm going to edit sketch one and get my front view, and it's not going to let me edit it, is it? I got too too much stuff attached to it now. It's not going to let me edit my line anymore. It's too constrained at this point. So I'm gonna say okay, and yeah, I got a lot of pausing because I'm messing with this, and I probably shouldn't be, because we got a lot going on. This is kind of taxing, and what it's taxing on is because it's really not your computer. This is rendering at the OnShape computer. So I'm using up, and as you make this, you're going to be using up a lot of resources. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit pause and wait for this to come back on, and I'll show you what else we'll do. All right, so I finally got my punctum to show back up. And so now this is what we're gonna do. A couple different things here. Let me go back to ISO view, just so I can see the top, front, right. Makes it a little easier. We can add a stem. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do a stem with this. So to do a stem, we're gonna get the top plane. So we're going to turn that view back on. So we have the top plane. We're going to click on plane. This time we're going to leave it on offset. And we're going to click on top. And you should see a little cursor in here. Boy, it doesn't like something I did because this sits there spinning forever. Anytime I'm trying to do anything right now. I may have to go back and fix this, but I'm gonna plow through, and then I'm gonna show you a few things that might make this work a little better as you're working on it. And sorry, this is taking so long. All right, so it finally showed me the little arrow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get on the front view, and I want to pull this thing close to the top, but not quite up to the top. I don't want it to break through the top up there. So that's pretty darn close right there. It's 12 inches tall at the top, so I'm at 11, 11 something. So, maybe I should do 11.8. There we go. That works. All right. So I got a plane up there now. Okay. So that's that plane. Looks like I'm on plane 9 already. So I'm gonna create a sketch. I'm gonna start on that plane. Okay, even though I can't see that plane, but see it's up there on the top. And now I'm gonna get my top view, and I'm gonna come over here to a polygon, and I turn this off. I'm gonna turn my origin back on and take the top plane off, and come back over here, and now see it'll lock in there. And I'm just gonna get a little hexagon. Oops, yep, I just want 6. There we go, hexagon. That looks good enough. All right, green check that one. Got a little hexagon there going. All right, and then I'm gonna do another plane, offset of that plane I just created just a second ago, and get a front view again, and I'm gonna pull this up. This is how high my stem's gonna go. So I'm gonna have a stem that sticks out. That looks about right. Just eyeballing it. Now I'm gonna create a sketch on that plane. Look over the top of it. I can see the old hexagon right there that I just made. I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna kind of offset this one over to the side. Make it not quite as big. And 6 works perfect. All right, let's go back to ISO. And I'm going to extrude from this guy to this guy. Not extrude, what am I doing? Not extrude, I'm going to loft. Here we go. So I'm going to loft from, oops, hold on a second. I just noticed over here. Okay, there we go. Now we're to loft. All right, so I'm going to loft from this sketch to this sketch. Okay. So let's see, from this sketch, I need quit selecting this other stuff. All right, I don't need to see this pumpkin right now. There we go. I'm gonna select that. I don't know what this is doing. Let's get rid of all that. I'm doing that to that. And this is solid. It's going to be new. I want it a new piece. I don't know why it's being difficult like this. Well, let's try this again. Loft it. I am going to loft. I'm going to turn the pumpkin off again. I'm going to loft this to this. Ah, it's thinking about it. There it goes. Now it made it. Green check. I can turn my pumpkin back on. And now this little guy, I can hide these planes now. I don't need to see these planes. This little guy right here is my stem. So I'm going to rename it my stem. And obviously my stem's going to be kind of a, sometimes it's greenish brown, right? So edit appearance. And, that's like a dark green. You could even kind of give you more of a burnt. I kind of like a little bit of a greenish tint to it, just to give some other color. So I got a greenish tint. So now if I look at my pumpkin, I got this little stem sticking out of it. Okay. All right. So now on the front, I need to make my pumpkin face. And this is where you can make any kind of pumpkin face you want. I mean, whatever you want to try. Now, I really don't think you're going to be able to do that with this. You can just your simple pumpkin faces, you could probably do like, I saw one that was like a tree and stuff, like if you want to do stuff like that, you could probably figure out, I mean, it'd take you some time, but I'm just going to do just a simple little pumpkin face on it. You can make a mean looking, you can make a happy looking, whichever you want to do. So what we need to do to be able to draw our pumpkin face is what we're going to do is we're going to extrude cut. So we need to get a face out in front of it. All right. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to turn my front pane back on. Okay. And I'm going to do an offset and I'm going to choose that front pane and I'm going to grab that arrow and I'm going to drag it out here and I need it in front of this shape. So, 12 inches should be plenty. So I'm just going to put 12 inches there. It doesn't really mean how far it is. You just need it in front of it, and I'm going to green check it. So I got this plane sitting out in front of it now. That's what I'm going to sketch on. So I'm going to click Sketch, and I'll hit N. Brings me in here. And now one of the things I do want to turn on, actually I just want to make sure I have, is I still got the origin turned on. Yep, origin still turned on. I'm going to do a construction line right up the middle. And actually, I'm just going to pull it down for right now, just so it's down here so I can see it. All right. Now I'm going to use the line tool, or you can use ovals, you can use the rectangles, you can use the, like you can come in here and, use the inscribed polygon and come over here and, I'm going to make an eye like this big and I wanted a triangle. Oh, that's too big. That's not going to work. Escape. All right. So if I'm going to do a triangle again, I'm going to do it this big, and then I want it just 3 shapes, and I could use that for my eye, or I can just come in here and with my just my sketch, let's see, because this is my whole pumpkin, so, maybe I want to, draw a eye like that, and escape my line tool, come in here with an arc or something. Kind of round it out like that. All right, now I'm only going to draw one of these, and then I want to draw an eye, so or his nose. So his nose is going to be a triangle, and notice how I anchored it. There. So I'm only drawing half of his nose. If you want to draw, you can draw his whole nose. And now I'm going to draw his mouth, and so I'm going to start, over here, and it's going to come down, it's going to come up. There we go. And then I'll come up to there, and where's the end point? There it goes. So now, so see how I made a mouth and a nose, and now I'm going to mirror it. And so select the mirror line. That's that construction line I made. Select everything to be mirrored. I'm going to select, drag, and select it all. There it is. Mirrored the whole thing. So now I can kind of see my face. All right, I like that. Green check it. There she blows. Hit extrude, and this time we're removing, and we're merging it with all. And I'm selecting this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. All right. And I need it to cut it through. There we go. It's cutting it now. Now make sure you don't pull it too far through, so you can kind of look at this right view. See how far I got it through? I'm about halfway through. That's all I needed. That way it wraps all the way around my pumpkin. Green check it. Come over here. Take that off. Let's see, do I have any other planes on? Yep, I got the front plane on. And I got the origin. I'm going to take it off. And here's my creepy looking pumpkin. So if I come back over here to my ISO view, I may have to kind of turn it a little bit so you can kind of see it. So actually, I think that's kind of a better view of it. I don't know if you're able to color. Like, see, I think I can select that. And I don't know if you're able to go in here. And this is, I'm just playing now. I'm looking to see, I don't see add appearance to this face. And, oh, you can. So like I can make that black to make it stand out. So you can do that. So you come in here and, click on like that guy, right click, and say add appearance to the face. And then you could make it whatever color you wanted, turn it around this way so I can see this little piece right there. Cover it black. Oh, it's letting me select multiple faces. That's sweet. That will save me a ton of time. Kind of have to think about what I'm looking at to make sure I'm selecting the right stuff. So there's all sorts of things you can do with that, so I can come in here and, color all this so it, I see I'm stressing my, there. Now, you notice if I click on the wrong thing, I can just delete it right here, So if I accidentally click on something I don't want to color, but this will help my mouth and all to kind of stand out a little bit more. It does get a little hard to kind of tell what you're doing at times, because you got so many things going on right here. Yeah, it's thinking about it. I think I'm missing some pieces over here. Yep, there and there. All right, I think I may have gotten all of them. I'm gonna click green check. Aha! Looky there. Now it's starting to look a little more gruesome. Heck, you may want to go in here and color some of these a different color or something so they stand out more. I don't know. But I think that helps. I think the side of my mouths aren't really good, so I would need to redo them. But now, you You're not probably going to want a straight on, like a straight on is kind of hard. You're probably going to want to kind of tilt it a little bit so you can kind of see your face you created a little better. I'm sure y'all are going to be much more creative than I am. Uh, and so then, once you got that, you got your Halloween pumpkin, I can see your name. All you'll do is, take a snipping tool and snip this right here and save it as a PNG and submit it. And that you don't have to do anything else. Just save it, submit just the picture of it, and I should be able to see, like if I move this over, I got a scroll bar down here, I think. There it is. You can see my name. This is the pumpkin I made, and this is what you would submit. Sorry that took so long to create. I'll show you another pumpkin I made, and I did it a little more gentle um, of a roll, and I actually made the so see it's solid on the top. I got a hole in the bottom though, but I can show you here. I'm going to turn off my pumpkin. I'll show you the yeah. I'll turn on all the other sketches so you can kind of see the size of. There we go. So you can kind of see. I mean, this one I went bigger, so I think really the hard part. I think this you got to get this kind of gentle shape. If you get too sharp of a curve, it has a hard time locking it. And then I had this pretty wide. You can see that's pretty wide and it gets pretty big. And then so it gets wide, a little bit wider and bigger, and then gets wider and bigger and really big, and then shrinks down. And I bet you anything I should have made that just a little bit bigger, and I may not have that hole, but it all worked. So, when I turn this all back on, I got a pretty good looking pumpkin there. Right now it looks bad because I got all these views on. So I still need to cut my face into this one. So I'll work on it. But hopefully that helped you. Um, and there's my pumpkin. So, all right. Good luck.